it's important to see what has happened and caused the Holocaust death of one victim, because there are 6 million victims. And so we all should be aware of how important of that is.
What do you feel when you see this cello, this instrument that belonged to your father?
Yeah, it's something very special, because I have very few things which were from my father. In the last years of his life, he had to move from Paris to Toulouse. From Toulouse, he was taken, just arrested and taken away. So I don't have any other thing of his possessions. I have some children's memories, some toys, which I were given as a child, but nothing of his adult life. And the cello is the one thing which was the most important in his adult life. So seeing that again is something very, very special.
At that time, you were a child.
Yeah.
So we have your perspective. How did you live all this period? Because sometimes we have some survivors that were older at the time of the Nazi or of the Holocaust and the Nazi repression. How did you live this period?
Well, when I am thinking of my father, I am thinking of the man he was, the musician, the ever optimist, ever ambitious man who tried all his life to make the most of it, to make the most of his music, the most of his family relations, the most of everything. And it's, of course, very, very sad that those last 2 or 3 months of his life have been so horrible, but I try not to think too much of that, because it makes me sad and I cannot do anything about it. So I try to remember the man he was, the man I loved, the man who was loved by everyone around.
Do you think it's important nowadays, still after so many years, to remember the Holocaust in the sight of the fact that these things like this will never happen again?
History is something very, very important. History never repeats itself, but history can make us aware of the dangers of what is happening in the everyday life nowadays, so that we can do the right things for the future, for our children and the future inhabitants of this world.
I don't know if you noticed this, but during the minute of silence today in the European Parliament, there was one MEP shouting, "Pray for the victims of Gaza."
Yeah.
I would like to have your opinion as a survivor of Holocaust and also as a Jewish person on what is happening today in the Middle East.
I am from October 7 last year, the Hamas attack on Israel, very, very much aware of what's happening there. And I am amazed, really amazed, and I think it's horrible that Israel, who has a history of persecution through the ages, should now bomb Gaza so terribly, bomb hospitals, kill children, doesn't allow food, so that it is the population, the citizens, which do suffer. I can quite understand that Israel wants to eliminate Hamas, but Hamas is more than an army. Hamas is an ideology. And the way they are going about it is, well, something horrible again.
And my last question is, at your age, what are your plans for the future?
My plans for the future, well, I'm 92, so my personal plans for the future is to enjoy life when I can enjoy it as to my health and so on. But I do hope for my grandchildren, my 2 granddaughters who were present here nowadays. I hope that they are aware of what's happening, learn the lessons from history, and help everyone to make a better future.